A lot of you have been asking me where to start the novel-based explanation for Magic Emperor, especially if you're following the manhwa and want to continue after chapter 647. So if you've finished reading up to Magic Emperor Manhwa chapter 647, you can start with the Magic Emperor novel at chapter 638. You can check out comment section, I pinned the video. In the previous chapter, we saw Yelin's golden flames overpower Zhuo Yifan's defenses, shattering his spatial barriers and nullifying his techniques. With no options left, Zhuo Yifan braced himself as the scorching flames closed in, threatening to consume him entirely. Let's begin the chapter. If I had known it would come to this, I would have used that tiebreaker, Zhuo Yifan thought bitterly. Though the technique was newly learned and dangerously unpredictable, it might have been his only shot. But now it wasn't just a threat to him. It could prove devastating to his enemy as well. Was he clinging to stability too much? The golden flames roared above him, radiating a suffocating heat. Zhuo Yifan felt a pang of regret pierce his heart. Why hadn't he risked everything, like Yelin had? Why hadn't he unleashed his full power from the beginning? But it was too late now. The flames closed in, and with a deep, shaky breath, Zhuo Yifan steeled himself. He decided to meet the inferno head-on. He summoned the vaulting Dragon King, commanding the dragon to coil tightly around him and enshroud his body in a thick layer of azure flames. This was his final gamble. He hoped the unique properties of the azure flame, which balanced yin and yang, could temper the ferocity of the golden flames. But there was a catch. If the flames didn't balance, if they fused instead, the azure flame would be overwhelmed. And when the azure flame was extinguished, all that would remain would be his vulnerable dragon soul. If that happened, his soul would be defenseless, destroyed. Zhuo Yifan gritted his teeth, glaring at the blinding golden flames as they drew closer. Sweat dripped from his brow. There was no room for hesitation now. Only hope. Let this be enough, he prayed silently. Meanwhile, Yelin watched coldly from the other side. His breathing was heavy, his chest rising and falling sharply. He sneered, his voice laced with disdain. It's useless, he spat. I burn my very soul to summon this decimating golden flame. A half-baked sacred beast inheritor like you stands no chance. Farewell, my fated adversary. The golden flames finally clashed with the azure dragon, and the impact was immediate. The dragon roared in agony, its massive form trembling violently. Zhuo Yifan staggered, his mind splitting with unbearable pain, as if thousands of blades were slicing into his consciousness. But he refused to yield. The azure flames surged forward, attempting to drown the golden inferno in an ocean of blue fire. Yet, it was a futile effort. The golden flames were too focused, too destructive. Like a razor-sharp needle, they pierced through the azure sea with terrifying precision. Zhuo Yifan's heart sank as he realized his desperate defense was crumbling. The azure flame, his last hope, couldn't even slow the attack. Instead, it was being consumed, inch by inch. Despair tightened its grip around him. If only I had acted differently. But regrets wouldn't save him now. The golden flames tore through his defenses, and even before they reached his dragon soul, their sheer heat scorched him from within. Zhuo Yifan spat blood, his body trembling as the searing pain coursed through him. It's over, he thought bitterly. He had underestimated Yelin, and now there was no escape. The golden flames bore down on him, promising to annihilate everything in their path. The audience watched with bated breath as Zhuo Yifan's fate seemed sealed. Chu Qingcheng's eyes filled with tears, her hands covering her trembling lips. Xuan Xiaoyu, meanwhile, smirked cruelly, savoring Zhuo Yifan's misfortune. Even the exalted double dragons, the venerable judges of the battle, prepared to intervene and declare an end to the fight. But then, piercing through the tension, a sharp cry echoed across the battlefield. Everyone turned their gaze upward, astonished. A streak of purple lightning tore through the air, and a familiar figure descended between Zhuo Yifan and the golden flames. It was Chower. Zhuo Yifan's eyes widened in disbelief. "Didn't I tell her to stay away?" Chower, her body crackling with vibrant purple lightning, faced the oncoming. Golden inferno without hesitation. "Chower, wait!" Zhuo Yifan shouted desperately. But it was too late. With unyielding determination, Chower collided with the golden flames. The two forces, purple lightning and golden fire, met in a deafening explosion. The sky seemed to shatter as the clash sent shockwaves rippling outward. Purple lightning surged, cutting into the golden flames like a chisel. The flames fought back viciously, devouring Chower's feathers, but she didn't falter. Every ounce of strength in her body, every last spark of lightning she possessed, was poured into stopping the flames. The golden fire raged on, relentless, but Chower held firm. Slowly, ever so slowly, the golden flames began to wane. The once mighty inferno shrank, its power chipping away under the unrelenting assault of the purple lightning. Zhuo Yifan watched in agony, his heart breaking. She's sacrificing herself. For me. Finally, with one last thunderous boom, the golden flames dissipated. The battlefield fell silent. Chower's charred body tumbled to the ground, her once majestic feathers blackened and burnt. The purple glow that had surrounded her was gone, spent entirely in her act of defiance. Zhuo Yifan staggered forward, his legs weak and unsteady. He knelt beside her, his trembling hands reaching out to touch her battered form. "Foolish girl," he whispered, his voice breaking. "Didn't I tell you to run? You've grown so big, and yet you still don't listen to your dad." Chu Ching-cheng wept openly, her tears streaming down her face. "Thank you, Chower," she murmured softly. In the crowd, Wen Tao let out a sigh. "What a loyal spirit beast," he said, his voice filled with admiration. Shi Tianshang, standing nearby, shook his head. "You don't get it, senior brother," he said, gravely. "Chower isn't just a spirit beast. Zhuo Yifan raised her like his own daughter." Wen Tao's eyes widened in shock. "I see. No wonder she would give her life for him." But Xie Tianshang's gaze darkened. "No," he continued. "What you don't understand is that now Zhuo Yifan's daughter has fallen, and when Zhuo Yifan is enraged, no one survives. The last time this happened, he devoured his enemy alive. Just the memory of it chills me to the bone." Wen Tao shuddered, casting a wary glance at Zhuo Yifan. Zhuo Yifan, however, was silent. His hand gently caressed Chower's still body as he pulled out a pill and tried to feed it to her. His expression was calm, almost serene. But beneath that calm, a storm of bloodlust raged. Ye Lin, still panting heavily from the strain of his attack, sneered. "Your spirit animal saved you, Zhuo Yifan," he said mockingly. "But you've already lost. Without her, you have no chance. Victory is mine." He began forming seals, preparing to unleash another devastating attack. "Stop it!" Wu Qingqiu shouted, his voice filled with alarm. "Junior brother, there's no need to go that far." But Ye Lin ignored him. His determination was absolute. Zhuo Yifan was too dangerous to leave alive. He was staking everything on this final attack. Zhuo Yifan rose to his feet, his fists clenched tightly. Blood dripped from his lips as he glared at Ye Lin with bloodshot eyes. "You want to stake it all," he said, his voice low and menacing. A cruel smile spread across his face. "Fine, you asked for it.